Hey, it's Travis, and I'm going to try to make this quick. My wife left me with our baby, and so wasn't expecting that. So I'm going to make this quick. Couple things I want to cover. One is to address a question I got last week about the 0.1% tax that's been talked about. Um, like I've mentioned before, if I don't know an answer, I'm not going to make something up. I'm not going to blow smoke up your butt and act like I know. I'm going to go figure it out and come back with more information. So I was able to do that. I got more information. I got a lot more context about what's going on. So apparently, in 2010, during the last recession, um, a shortfall was projected for the city budget. Turns out it was a miscalculation, but it was forecasted nonetheless. So a 6% tax was agreed upon by the city council at that time. The intent was to eventually roll it back completely. And then several years later, I can't remember when exactly, it was reduced to 3%. This tax had a pretty negative impact on local businesses and residents in the way that it was administered. Caused a lot of problems, really. So we've tried to roll it back for some time, and it sounds like we're going to do that. But we still have to fund. Sorry, fund. I don't like putting my kids on video, so he's going to have to sit down here for a minute. So we're going to have to fund street repairs and infrastructure. So what's been proposed is a 0.1% sales tax, which is a use tax, which means if you don't want to pay it, don't buy stuff in Liberty Lake. But what it will do is our roads are used by people that don't live here. I mean, if you drive around during the day, any day, you'll see a lot of Idaho plates. They're not paying anything toward the repair for these streets that they're actually using. So a sales tax actually would get them to contribute to what they use, to repair what they use. So I'm usually not supportive of taxes, but the fact that we're planning to roll a tax back and implement a use tax, which I think is of all the taxes is the most fair tax that you could administer. Because like I said, if you don't want to pay it, don't buy anything in Liberty Lake. It's as simple as that. And it shouldn't have a negative impact on businesses and the community at large. So wanted to circle back on that. Another thing I wanted to touch on was last week I received a threat. And I want to be crystal clear that A, that's unacceptable, and B, I'm not going to be intimidated. So if you want to parrot what you hear in your echo chambers, I mean, that's really what it was. Dude had no clue what I stand for, who I am, just talking shit. And it sounded he was echoing the same chatter that you would see in these far right echo chambers, misinformation that's been spread. So it was pretty laughable. It was actually sad that people can be so misled, can be so ignorant. So if you threaten me, there will be consequences. Make no mistake about that. It won't be tolerated, and I won't be intimidated. I'm running because things need to change in Liberty Lake. We're going down a path that I feel is a threat to democracy, and I'm not going to stand for it. And so I'm running to preserve democracy, preserve our First Amendment, all the amendments, Second Amendment, whatever. But they won't be infringed upon by the city council as long as I'm on the city council. So wanted to cover that. That's all I've got. No questions came in this week. Again, we'll have the walk and talk Saturday morning. Join my email list if you want to RSVP. You can find that at travislscott.com. I did put a new chatbot on there that's supposed to be AI powered that will use content I've created, the content from my website to answer questions if I'm not around. Testing it out. May not work perfectly, but would love your feedback on it. I'm going to continue to test it. And if it doesn't work, I'll go back to the other one that isn't AI, but waits for me to reply. But that's what I've got. Thanks for joining me. Ask your questions. I'm not going to be intimidated. Don't talk shit. And let's get through this to November. Looking forward to it being over. Thank you and enjoy your evening.